Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. We're doing another episode of Hometowns, and today I've got Kathy who will be sharing about Calgary, Canada, and Heather who's going to be sharing about Ames, Iowa, which was my hometown where I was born and raised and haven't been for a while. So, welcome both of you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
So, I'm just going to start and give our travelers just some quick basic information, maybe what their appetite to try going somewhere new. So, Heather, where would you say is the best way to get to Ames?
Either flying in Des Moines or going up I-35 or coming up and down I-35 to get to Ames or
Yeah, because
Highway 30
it's
or
true.
69.
It's about 4 hours south of Minneapolis, roughly, and I'm trying to think.
About, yeah,
Yeah, on a good day, 4 hours.
4 to 6 hours.
Yeah. And Kathy, what's the best way to get to Calgary? Is there an airport there that's easy
Oh,
or?
yeah. Yeah, there's a big airport here. So we're in the province of Alberta. So on the west side of Canada, you have British Columbia to the far left, then Alberta. So we're over closer to the west side than the east side of Canada. And to get here, a lot of airlines, like from the States, would fly direct into Calgary, from, LA, Salt Lake City, Chicago, New York, um, Phoenix, Vegas. Like, so there's lots of flights. And most people will fly in here and then rent a car
Oh,
and drive. So, but if you were driving, it's easy to get to Calgary as well. We're maybe 2 hours from the U.S. border,
oh
just two
yeah.
hours north of the U.S. border.
Yeah, that's not bad. And
Yeah.
Heather, kind of the same thing with Ames. I think we would both agree that renting a car would probably be your best bet once you got to Des Moines.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you could explore more outside of Ames and see some other things.
Yeah.
Heather, what would you say your favorite time of year to be in Ames, Iowa is?
Fall, spring, summer, and fall.
Yeah,
Going climbing gardens to walking around and just having fun in Ames. And Hickory Park's the most, one of the top places for people to visit to have dinner.
mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about Hickory Park for those that don't know what Hickory Park is.
Hickory Park is on South Duff, and people come there for when we have anything going on in Ames. It's the number one spot people go to for lunch and dinner, for game day, for Special Olympics, the Iowa games. Even when we have football games, the announcers will be announcing the game like on TV will come and have lunch,
Oh,
a meal before or the day before or before the game on game day.
yeah, tell us a
Before
little bit about
football.
what's on the menu there at Hickory Park because been a long established restaurant. I'd say, gosh, what, 30 years maybe
There's,
now?
yeah, they have beef, they have turkey, they have ice cream, they have just a variety of different foods.
Yeah, they're known for their barbecued sandwiches, and that ice cream menu is, I don't even know how many concoctions of ice cream sundaes they have.
Too many to count.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very nice place for visiting.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Ames being Iowa's kind of got the four seasons, like you mentioned. The springtime, you've got flowers, you've got
Ryman, going to Ryman Gardens is a big thing too.
yeah. And do you notice many plantings on the Iowa State campus, or is it pretty much just the fall? Because the old trees are really nice and old there on the campus. I know it's really pretty
There
in the
are
fall.
flowers, especially on the main part of campus by the Campanile.
Oh,
A
that's
lot
right.
of flowers there.
Nice.
And the
Kathy,
beautiful trees.
Kathy, what season would you say is your favorite time of year to be in Calgary?
Well, if you're asking me personally, I'm not a big snow person, but many people are, and that's why they come here.
Oh, okay.
But Calgary's kind of an all year city because we live very close to the Rocky Mountains. We're only maybe an hour and a half drive at the most to Banff.
Oh, that's
And
right.
there's some really big ski hills around Banff. I don't know if you would remember, but we had the Olympics in 88. And so
Mm-hmm.
Lake Louise and Sunshine are two major ski hills. We have one as well just right outside of Calgary called Canada Olympic Park. So that runs from sort of October through till even early May is when the skiing finishes. But that whole mountain area is very good for biking in the summer, for camping and hiking. And because Calgary's so close, we have obviously the same weather as they do. Lots of people skate in the winter, snowshoe, cross country ski. And then in the summer, we have two rivers in Calgary.
Oh,
And so there's lots of boating on the rivers, of course, fishing, lots of hiking and bike riding around Calgary. We have, I think we're one of the cities that has, like in Canada, the longest bike paths in Canada. So you can literally go everywhere on your bike. It's a younger city population wise, so very active, like, and physically people, and a lot of people move to Calgary because we are so close to the mountains.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a very active city.
That sounds nice. And do you still have, I remember growing up, it seemed like Calgary had like a rodeo or stampede or something.
We do, and that's in July every year. It starts on the second Friday of July, and it lasts for 10 days. And it's the largest rodeo in the world, the Calgary Stampede. And that is a huge draw for Calgary. And then, of course, a lot of people that come for the rodeo will then go to the mountains after that because it's so close. And a lot of people actually will drive from Calgary to Vancouver, which is
Oh,
about, I'm just going to say like a 10 to 12-hour drive, depending on the roads that you're taking. But it's all through the mountains and through the Okanagan in British Columbia, which is beautiful, big lakes. And it's really a huge, big wine area now.
oh,
So
nice.
yeah, we're fairly close. We're not, well, we're nowhere near the water, but we've got mountains here and you can get to the water if you want to.
Right. Well,
A
and
lot
then
of camping around here too.
yeah, that sounds great. Are there places that we should consider to eat since Heather brought up food and favorite places?
Well, because we're in, they call it cattle country, beef is big here. So we have lots of steakhouses and Alberta beef, the Beef Association says we have the best beef in the world. So if you're a beef person, it's a great place to come and have beef. But Calgary's actually attracted chefs from around the world. So you literally can get every kind of food that you want. We're 1.3 million in
Oh,
population.
wow.
Yeah, so we're a good size. I've been here since 1978. I think we were about 60 or 600,000 at that point. So we've doubled in size. So any kind of food, I mean, you can get sushi here that's really good. Lots of vegetarian restaurants now. Anything really. But Calgary is a really diversified cuisine, lots of really good ethnic restaurants and local markets as well, too, farmers markets that we have.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So how long would you say if you're planning to visit Iowa, Heather, would you spend, how much time do you think people should allocate for that?
Oh, it could be a week or two to hit all of Iowa.
Yeah, because there's some other spots as we were talking before we got on camera. If you want to,
Pella,
yeah, do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about
Madison,
Pella and Madison County?
Pella are famous for their tulips that they have on their square. They're just full of tulips. And my and I have been there after the tulip festival. They're still beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
We have different varieties. And my mother's favorite flower is tulips.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, the whole
Um,
town plants all kinds of tulips, and then they do the bakeries there and the
yep,
the festival where they have traditional dances. And
yep.
so, do you want to share a
When
little?
is tulip season?
Tulip season is spring and summer.
Yeah, it's
So it
coming up.
lasts it's quite a long time
Yeah.
period, not just a couple of weeks.
It's pretty short, isn't it, Heather? Wouldn't you say, like, if you don't get there, I mean, because the tulips, depending on the weather, it's like,
Yeah.
'cause the festival's always like the first part of May.
Mm.
Uh,
And then do you want to share a little bit about Madison County since it's pretty famous for as a now
yes,
with the film and
it was Madison County. Someone from Madison County wrote a book about the covered bridges and Clint Eastwood, and I can't remember who the actress was that was in it. They actually came and filmed the movie in Madison County, and they had all the covered bridges in it at some point.
Yeah.
So it's like very big tourist area.
Right.
Was it Meryl Streep?
I want to say, I think it was Meryl Streep.
Yeah, I saw that movie. I loved, oh my gosh, that scenery was beautiful. And those bridges. I'm partial to covered bridges as well. We don't have them in Alberta, but where my dad grew up in Ontario and Quebec, there's lots of covered bridges. And, they're so beautiful.
They are.
Yeah. And then there's another movie that was filmed in Iowa, right, Heather?
Yes, the Music Van. Is that the one you were thinking of?
Well, there's that one, but then there was also Field of Dreams.
Oh yes, Field of Dreams. That was.
It's in eastern Iowa. It's probably about a 3-hour drive to get to that area. Kevin Costner, and I think it was last year they kind of have revived this whole thing with the field and having actual baseball players come and do a big event. So again, it's just.
And they came out of the fields, cornfields, just like they did in the movie.
Yeah. So a lot of people think that not much happens in Iowa, but we've got a few things.
Yeah, everybody thinks we're flat, but we have high hills in Iowa too, especially in the quarters of the state because of the Mississippi and the Missouri rivers.
Right, exactly. So Kathy, what are some places you would recommend? I know you mentioned Lake Louise and Banff, and have you got some other places you might recommend for travelers, or how long they might want to consider coming?
Yeah, it depends on if they're going to the mountains or not. You could do Calgary, I would say, in 3 or 4 days. We have a place called the Heritage Park, which is, the park with all the old buildings and stagecoaches and really funky little stores and bakeries. We have a great zoo as well. And we have quite a vibrant downtown community with some really good restaurants and clubs with live music. And so I mean that, you could do in 3 to 4 days. If you come for the Stampede, it's 10 days. So, and you could easily stay for the whole 10 days because it's a lot of fun. That's really our busiest time of the year in July. But if you want to go to the mountains, definitely you need 3 or 4 days for sure. And it's very easy to rent a car and drive there. It's not like the driving conditions are good. It's a really nice big highway. Further past Banff and Lake Louise, you're starting to get into more of the mountains. And I don't always recommend people rent a car unless they're really comfortable driving. I mean, for Americans, it would be fine because we drive on the same side of the road. But, if you're from Australia, for example, driving on the other side of the road and navigating the mountains can be a little bit tricky. So I would say, if you were just coming to Calgary in the mountains, up to 2 weeks would be good. We have a city up in the northern part of Alberta, 3 hours from Calgary, called Edmonton. And that's actually our capital of Alberta. And their claim to fame is they have the biggest shopping mall in Canada, the West Edmonton Mall.
Oh, wow.
So that's a lot of people go to Edmonton for that mall because they have, big, huge, there's hotels there and water slides, like a big water park. There's a huge, big ice skating rink and rides. And yeah, it's quite cool.
Wow, that sounds incredible. Do you have any other places, Heather, that you would recommend in Iowa for visitors, or a place to stay, or?
Well, we have hotels and stuff like that, all over Iowa. Sometimes you can find a bed and breakfast to stay in instead in some places in Iowa. We have parks that are nice to go to in Ames and around the area.
Right.
And Ray Bride is coming through Ames.
Oh, that's right.
Going down to Des Moines. So they're coming through this summer too.
Oh yeah, that's the great bike ride across Iowa that was started by the local newspaper. So yeah, and they have each town, when the bikers come through, they have food and music. So yeah,
so stayed overnight in Ames, so they'll be going to the mall. They'll be on Main Street. They'll be doing activities there. So there's just a lot of bed and breakfast and hotels around. You just have to look up on a website so you can find. There's also places to camp too,
Oh, that's true. Yeah, like the
like the
ledges.
ledges
Right, yeah.
in Ames and Boone. Um, hmm,
No, those are all good suggestions. I know if I was visiting Ames, I might suggest too. The Union for a while had rooms. I don't know if they still do the
they still do.
Memorial Union, and then a couple of they used to be fraternities or sororities on the Iowa State on the edges of the campus turned into bed and breakfast. So that might be something unique, and then you'd be walking distance to events on campus or if there's music or whatnot. So yeah.
I forgot about the bed and breakfasts that were fraternities.
Yeah, there's a couple I know that turned into bed and breakfast, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look up the names and I can put those in the show notes.
Yeah.
Kathy, did you have some suggestions for people on where they might stay? I know you mentioned Calgary's kind of spread out, so like if you wanted to be close to biking or something central where you might suggest.
Well, if you look at the picture behind me, that is downtown Calgary. So you can see lots of tall buildings. So we have a lot of hotels, which is probably not a bad area to stay in because downtown there's Princess Island Park, which is, you walk over a bridge and you're on an island. Very, very pretty to walk around there. So from anywhere in downtown, you can walk there. We do have a C train that runs through downtown and goes, north, south, east, and west. So it's good for transportation if you didn't have a car. But and we do have bed and breakfast, lots of them here as well. I would say most people stay downtown Calgary unless they're doing business in a, community that's on some other area. We've got hotels all around the city and there's lots of hotels out by the airport as well. But I think honestly, most people that come here, unless they come for the Stampede, really come to go to the mountains.
Oh, okay.
So typically they're going to get off the plane, they're going to get their rental car, and they're going to drive the hour and a half to get into Banff.
Yeah.
And then in Banff, lots of hotels as well, bed and breakfasts. They've got hotels, 3 to 4 to 5, even maybe 6-star. The hotel that's kind of the iconic hotel in Banff is called the Banff Springs Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you Google Banff Springs Hotel, it looks like a castle.
Wow.
It's beautiful. And it's a Canadian Pacific hotel. So we have a chain CP hotels in Canada. In Calgary, the older hotel, it's called the Palliser Hotel. So most of the CP hotels are the older ones that, are 100 years old. Lots of history to them. The Banff Springs Hotel is great. If you stay there, you can do tours of the hotel and they actually have ghost tours as well.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
But like the rooms are all different from one another. It's not a cookie cutter hotel. It's really, really beautiful. So most people, like I said, they don't really hang around Calgary that much. I shouldn't say they never do. We have good concerts here as well. So sometimes people will come in for concerts, but that's more people that are driving in from other places in Alberta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, ladies, this has been great. We've gotten a lot of great tips for a couple different places to consider, if you're looking for something different for your travels or just a weekend getaway, you might check and see, how much it is to get to Calgary or get to Iowa in the springtime and enjoy the tulips or go to the mountains in Banff or
Yes.
I would plan now, I guess, for Stampede, I imagine. It probably draws a lot of people. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Then the hotels are always hard to get
yeah.
as well. I know last year things were good. Because we didn't have the Stampede. Well, I shouldn't say we didn't have it. It was a very small version of it for 2 years during the pandemic. But last year it was back. And I know this year is going to be nuts with Stampede because so many people that didn't get to come will be here for it. So yeah, if you're coming this year, book now.
Yeah, book now. Exactly. Kathy, do you want to share your website? I know you take women on tours to Bali, which is halfway around the world from Calgary. So
It is. So I have a company called One Travel Ventures, which is a travel agency. We specialize in travel to Southeast Asia. And then the division that does the tours is called Babes in Bali Tours. So it's tours for women, 2 weeks long, and we explore kind of the whole island of Bali. I've been going there personally. I've been going since 1983,
Wow.
but I've been doing my group since 2002. Didn't get to do any during the pandemic, but I did get to do 2 of them last year in 2022 when Bali first opened. And my next departure is this October
Nice.
22nd for 2 weeks, which I have room for a few more people if anyone's interested. So my website is www.babesinbali.com. And I
Wonderful.
also have a Facebook page too, Babes in Bali.
Oh, good, good. And Kathy is also on, we have the Travel Collective Facebook page. You can always drop a message there. And Heather, I know, has been active on the Travel Collective Facebook group too. So if you have questions about Iowa, you can always drop a comment. And I really appreciate this. This is a lot of fun. Thank you
Yeah.
both.
Yeah, thanks, April. Maybe we'll see you sometime for the Stampede.
I know. Yeah, exactly.